I went to an all-boys Catholic school in the UK.
Okay.
For the second week in a row, Tony gave us two panelists who on paper seem like an odd couple, but wind up being extremely entertaining and wonderful guests for the show. Martin Phillips and Dusty Slay joined Tony on the panel for episode number 734. This was the first time Martin has ever been a panelist, and it was fun to see him in a different light. He's without a doubt one of the show's most consistent performers, so getting a spot on the panel seemed like a nice reward for his hard work.
And I started just doing a minute. Now I'm on panel. Now I'm the captain now.
Oh, there it is. And me and Martin did a show together 10 years ago at an Italian restaurant in Portsmouth, Virginia. And now here we are. Wow.
Phillips thrived in a panelist role, not being afraid to go out on his own and try jokes and one-liners, and almost all of them were home runs.
But then they asked me for a picture of my dick, and they told me that it was too big.
Wow. Prove it.
What else do we got? What else do we got up our sleeves over there?
Do me.
No, don't do Martin.
Slay was an interesting prospect for the podcast, and coming in, I wasn't sure how he'd mesh with the show's format or with Tony or Martin. When Tony introduced Slay, he said this was the first time that they've ever worked together, so they probably weren't too acquainted heading into this episode. In fact, Dusty and Martin were more familiar with each other, having worked a gig at an Italian restaurant 10 years ago. But Dusty is no slouch when it comes to these types of shows. He was on an episode of Story Wars earlier this year, and that ripped, so I had high hopes for him. Dusty delivered on those high hopes, bringing his charming and endearing persona to the show while delivering hit after hit.
Believe it or not, I was very smart back then. 15...
I think we're all going with not.
Right.
Yeah.
Nah, more like a machete. My dad actually got his cut with his machete. Because, like, I did my shit in
Same
the hospital.
time?
No. But my dick let out like a
Amazing.
like my dick was done, you know?
Is this when you started doing voices? Would you say that you have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them?
Yeah. There's a lot of truth to that song.
Sometimes you gotta know when to walk away and know when to run, you know? Wow.
Yeah. I've had chlamydia twice, one from my high school sweetheart and then once from the girl at P.F. Chang's.
That's why everyone's ordering virgin drinks from you.
Oh.
Did you say you worked at 40 restaurants?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been
In
out.
9 years.
It's like...
So you're not that good at it.
No.
You're like, I'm exhausted from cheating on you.
Dusty is someone who is pretty removed from the Austin comedy scene, so watching him mesh with the Kill Tony universe was fun to see. He's a legit stand-up and is hilarious. His new special is one of my favorites this year, so there was no doubt that he'd be funny for me. As for the acts on the show, we had a relatively hot bucket and a less than stellar outing from the faces we're used to seeing. Chris Silio got the show started, cashing in his golden ticket he earned on Kill Tony number 730. There wasn't a lot of new stuff here from Chris, down to how he even started the set by making sure the audience was there. His material was fine, speaking about his everyday struggles being blind, but I would have liked to see some diversity in material this time around from Mr. Silio. The first bucket pull was shot out of a cannon. Pete Garza had an unquestionable commitment to his jokes. His over-the-top entrance startled Martin Phillips, and despite his first joke not landing, he kept trucking and the laughs eventually came. His set went from "it's so bad it's good" to an actual rock-solid minute, all basically based on stage presence and commitment to his jokes.
I tried a glory hole for the first time. I don't get why you wouldn't just shit in the toilet. That other guy was fucking pissed. Got on his shoes. She wanted me to pay her $100 because I came in my pants. I was like, bitch, I came in with that.
Where Garza went wrong was his interview. He stayed in his persona and tried to be cute when he answered questions instead of turning it off and being himself. And just like when he came out, he really made Martin Phillips uneasy. Martin's brief interactions with this guy were really what made his interview and even parts of his minute as well.
He lived in a cage in my apartment and stuff.
Your energy makes me uncomfortable.
But then they asked me for a picture of my dick, and they told me that it was too big.
Wow. Prove it.
I like the tightness of it all.
You're a weird guy.
He really is.
After the awkward and nervous-natured Garza, the bucket pulled up Jim Tele, who had a real smooth 60 seconds on the same premise throughout, just finding different angles to make it funny. In his interview, he revealed that he was preparing for a future as an actor, and he dished out some voices. His British accent was pretty impressive, however, his African one was probably his best.
Here is Tony. A gay man.
You know what? I changed my mind. You're under arrest. You son of a bitch.
Do me.
No, don't do Martin.
Tony attempted to get more out of Tele, asking him standard questions like, have you ever had a near-death experience and what scares you? The former didn't draw anything interesting out of Tele, but the latter definitely kept him on stage for a little bit longer.
What scares you? What are you afraid of? What
Knives.
Knives? Tell me more about knives.
I'm scared of knives because I got circumcised in Africa when I was 16.
Whoa, an African circumcision.
That sounds like the near-death experience.
They use a knife, a regular knife, on 16-year-old Africans when they need like a samurai sword or something like that?
Nah, more like a machete. My dad actually got his cut with his machete.
Really?
Because, like, I did my shit in the
Same
hospital.
time?
Tripp Callahan was the next great bucket pull, the fourth of the night. When you see your typical white dude in shorts on Kill Tony, more often than not, they bomb. Not Tripp, though. Callahan approached the stage with a set that seemed to be perfectly curated for a Kill Tony audience, sprinkling in racist and trans jokes that aren't only funny, but are well-crafted and observational.
I saw Target, they got in trouble for selling tuck-friendly bikinis to children. At first I thought it was weird, but then I realized it was probably even more weird to be against it. If your son's wearing a bikini, then I want to see the cock, you know? Like, for example, a white lab, that's a great dog. A black lab's also a great dog. But a Chinese lab, that will shut down the world economy.
Unfortunately, his interview just wasn't that interesting. Mostly talking about him working at Kill Tony's favorite place, HEB. The best part of his interview was a random funny shoplifting story from Red Band.
What did
the
you
most
shop?
embarrassing thing I ever. A Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack and one of the Paula Abdul albums.
Callahan bored the room with his interview, and the supposedly #1 heads-up poker player in the world and worst comedian up to this point, Doug Polk, put them to sleep. Polk is new to comedy, so I won't go too hard on him, but this was not my favorite. He was so boring that Tony asked the panel where they go grocery shopping. I'm glad this was the last Polk appearance, and hopefully Tony doesn't gamble away a spot to him again. This was a drag and kind of killed momentum for the time being. Matt Campbell, the fifth bucket pull of the night, attempted to recapture the energy that Polk sucked from the room, and he did an okay job. While his set didn't completely recapture the vibe in the room, his interview did. The highlight of his time on stage was rage-baiting Tony about where his dad was from. It's fun to watch the open micers get on Tony's nerves, especially when it seems to be in good spirit from both sides.
We know, he's English.
South African if he was paying attention.
But how did you end up in England?
My mother's vagina.
How did your dad end up in your mother's vagina?
He worked very, very hard.
You little fucking smirmy British bastard. Coming in to have your moment. British comedian kills Kill Tony. You son of a bitch. All right.
Dusty, as he had all night, also demonstrated his quick chops with some killer lines about Campbell's girlfriend who cheated on him, catching her in the act, texting a dude under the name Grandma.
What kind of text was she sending to Grandma?
Filthy.
Yeah.
Filthy.
Were you at first like, is this how you talk to your grandmother?
No,
Is this what Americans do with their grandparents? You're like, your grandma's up late.
And coming was not spelled properly.
I'm not sure you made the right move here.
Yeah.
This sounds, when are you coming over? I mean, well, I'm from Alabama. I got relatives that can't spell.
Also, with Campbell being a Brit, Tony shortly mentioned his time in the UK, a show that he appears to be hiding from us.
You enjoy it?
No.
Oh, it's
okay.
We literally hated everything about it.
Worst week of our lives.
Yeah.
Just as quickly as Campbell brought the energy in the room back, Mushroom Matt threatened to take almost all of it out. He had a fumbling, nervous set that received little to no reaction. But if you want to talk about an old school bucket pull, it doesn't get more grunge, dirty, and down bad than Mushroom Matt. A guy who is a former drug user, who is a big mushroom enthusiast, and not afraid to divulge his misfortunes. Just a psycho with no shame.
You know?
So you were doing meth while you were on Adderall?
No, yeah. Well, no, what?
After a couple from Tennessee left the stage, we got the return of a familiar face in Carlos Lopez. It's been a long time since we've seen Lopez. I love his matter-of-fact delivery. He seems like he's your dad just telling you something that he's read in the newspaper. I really enjoyed this set, and it was good to see him back on the show.
My phone went off, and it was an Amber Alert for a 15-year-old Hispanic girl. And I thought that was fucked up. Because what about her 2 kids?
Carlos Lopez wasn't the only familiar name on this episode. Hank Garza also got pulled from the bucket and gave a solid minute from what was a overall great bucket on the night and was one of his best sets he's ever done on the show.
I believe that a lot of us in here are not racist, but our algorithms are. Anybody else see that one post about that one group of people and you're just like. The hardest part about me dating is actually, it's not even the wife and kids that I have at home. It's actually the sleep apnea machine. You know how fucked up it is when you have to take down the hose to go see the hose?
This was another solid episode of Kill Tony, in my opinion. A odd couple panel of Dusty Slay and Martin Phillips delivered laughs, and they riffed off each other perfectly. 2 solid panelists, great bucket overall, and Tony was in a good mood. What'd you guys think of Kill Tony, episode number 734? I gotta know. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check all the links down below. You can like me on Facebook at Tripp Talks. Follow me on Twitter at Tripp Talks, or follow me on TikTok at Tripp Talks Clips. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.